world today. Power corrupts, they say, and absolute power corrupts you. Absolutely. It can change a man who has a heart of gold, make him cruel, wicked, self-centered and cold. Many men in this land, many organizations fought for freedom and justice throughout the land. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about nobody. Prostituting the island to all and sundry, they peddling my people's right, exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. I wonder how we survive. Think it over, my friend. Think it over again. Think it over, don't vex with me, shorty. Think it over, I'm singing as I see. Food we can't even buy, murder the price too high. Malnutrition killing the children while we the adults starving. Yet the price is rising without control. Young man begging bread by the side of the road. And the Chamber of Commerce in this land, I tell you, they don't give one damn. The more we try to economize, the more cost of living rise. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about nobody. They prostituting the island, milking the land dry. They making my people starve, exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. This thing just can't go on. Think it over, my friend. Think it over carefully again. Think it over, don't vex with me, shorty. Think it over, I'm singing as I see. Work we can't even find, life seems a waste of time. Nothing to do but sit around the corner line. Though frustrated, some would rather starve than beg. Others turn to crime and steal what they can get. And the judges have no sympathy, they're hammering everyone that they catch. Even little children are jailed without regret. When they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about you or me. Or what they do, lock me up when they catch me, smoking little tampy while the social rich are freed, exploiting, oppressing, less freedom, more suffering. A poor man's life is really hard indeed. Think it over, my friend. Think it over carefully again. Do it again. Think it over. Don't vex with me, shorty.
Yes, the sounds of the man King Shortshirt. This one, it says, when they have power and authority, they don't give a damn about you or me. I'm DJ Marish, and I'm coming to you live and direct from my Gaza here in the Bronx, New York at this time. Coming to you with a special program this evening. Going to be featuring one of our sons of the soil, one of our natives there, man by the name of Brother Reggie Francis out of Eskis and Kitts. I'm going to be speaking to Reggie in a bit. But just before we get into Reggie, I must drop this ad to let folks know that this podcast is here running every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you're just scrolling the web and you run into us and you're wondering what this podcast is all about, it's just DJ Marish in your neighborhood. So stand by.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Marishall's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and a candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Marishall. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Marishall, every Wednesday evening. Facebook, 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Marisha. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right, and that's the ad for this podcast. DJ Marisha, I'm here each and every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m., bringing you the concerns of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. But as I said at the top of the hour, share the live, please share the live. Featuring this evening, a son of the soil, Brother Reginald Francis. Good evening, Brother Reggie. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so I'm Reginald Francis. I'm the son of Ben and Telka Francis. I think most people would know who they are. I was educated at Bastia High School. When I was 15, I went to University of Massachusetts, did my bachelor's, went on to a master's in Massachusetts, and went down to the University of Miami to do a PhD in economics. I did not complete the PhD because Hurricane Andrew hit, and I lost everything. I had to come back home. I worked for some company here for 9 months, and then I opened my own business. As always into boats, so I did parasailing, then I did salvage work, then I ran a ferry. And when I had the ferry, I realized that the main service needed here was a haul-out facility to secure the boats in storms. I proceeded to purchase a travel lift. This is around 2004, and I was able to get a reconditioned one from the military, which is a big size one to lift big boats. When I started operations, I was I was in the top three in the Caribbean. That's top three in the Caribbean. We're talking St. Martin, Trinidad, and Puerto Rico, and we're all in the same, top areas. So I started the business, and it grew from step to step. From the start, the government wanted to lease me land, and luckily my parents always taught me you have to really own a piece. So I went towards the purchase aspect of it. Um, I've had a lot of complications and battles with that, but eventually, I think it's 2021, I was able to secure a purchase agreement. But during that time, I did a lot of work, including the revetment at Port Zante. For 3 years, I worked on that. I mined stones in the quarry. I was actually in the quarry for 14 years, mining stones, drilling, blasting. I'm in the army. I'm explosives. I won't say expert. I deal with explosives. So I was able to mine the rocks and get the rocks where other people could not get the rocks. So we did Port Zante. We further went on to build the Old Road Fisheries. Now, during the Old Road Fisheries, it was supposed to be a 5-month contract for $6.2 million. But the reason why it was expensive because the rocks were over 10 tons, in most cases 20 tons, and they had to be placed like 20 to 30 feet out at sea in the seabed. Obviously, a little backhoe can't do that. So I was required to acquire a very large excavator. Uh, Luckily, I had that equipment. I was able to use it, and those are the tools of my trade, being in the quarry for that time. So the project was supposed to be 5 months. The government was supposed to supply the stones. The government of the day did not supply the stones. They instead of 5 months, it took them 36 months. Now, during that time, I tried to take my machines out because I had a job offer in Dominica, which was a very lucrative job offer, but I was not allowed to take my machine out because of the contract. I guess the government was afraid of how it would look if the work slowed down and the machine was taken out. It looked like, oh, that's another government project failed. So the contractually, I was required to keep the machines there. So a 5-month project turned into 36 months with my machines tied up. In the contract, there were standby charges. So I was able to charge for the time. Every month, in meetings, I'd say, look, this is costing me. Please let me take out the machine. They kept saying no. So my only recourse is to charge for the machine being there. Eventually, we finished the contract, but coming on to the end of the contract, I was able to secure a land purchase agreement for the boatyard, which was just over 26 acres. So with that land purchase, I secured it with a $50,000 deposit, which is a token deposit. I could have put $1 because at the time the government would have owed me about $10 million, which was the amount of the contract that they didn't pay plus the standby charges. and the land was 6 point something. So I signed the contract. I went into the agreement for the purchase. I figured, okay, we'll do an exchange. It'll be good for the government because I know governments always have a problem giving out liquid cash, whereas an asset would be easier. That didn't work out. So after pleading, you have a 6-year statute of limitation. So it came on to like 3 years, and then in 2023, we're like, okay, we need to take this a step further. I can't let the time run out. So we filed this in the High Court. We went to the High Court because I think it was August. We were able to have a hearing, or when we met with the master online, we tried to say, well, instead of doing it arbitration overseas, let's have it locally. The master agreed that we have a local company, the local government involved, the activity occurred locally. So why do we need to go to international arbitration? The counsel for the government side smirked and said she's been given direct instructions for international arbitration only. So because it's in the contract that way, we had to do that. Now, the problem with international arbitration, I have to put $800,000 up front to have the case. Now, the loser of the case pays that money. So, okay, if I have 800,000, I can put it up. I know I'm going to get my money back. But in the meantime, the land, I expected to close the deal within a year because the money was owed to me. The land had in clauses where if I didn't pay within a year, they would raise the price of land from $4.50 to $7 a square foot, and then they will charge me 12% interest. So the price of the land was climbing very rapidly. So for me, I figured it's best to get the case going, and I know I'm going to win, and let's close this matter. But I've been trying to negotiate with the government, and they told me they had a proposal for me, which I was excited to. I don't want to go to court. I mean, court is lawyers winning, making money, and time wasting. So on the 31st of July, 2025, the Attorney General's Chambers sent a proposal letter to my attorney, who forwarded it to me. Now, I read through it. It was a 3-page document. It outlined what the matters were, and it made an offer for me to basically pay their money because they were not acknowledging they limited the amount of the standby charges by quoting a clause in there which was for the contractor, not for the employer. They're saying that there was only a 20% of the contract limit. But that is for when a contractor is working on a job. If I don't finish on time, I have to pay $5,000 a day if I finish late on that same contract for all fisheries. So that clause, 8.7, limited it to 20% of the contract amount. So the Attorney General's office quoted that. So that was a mistake on their end. They gave a breakdown of everything else. So they acknowledged that, yes, part of the contract amount was not paid. With that in mind, if I take the arbitration, automatically I win. So the government will have to pay the 800,000 plus whatever the court awards. But in addition to that, we have vessels on the compound where the St. Marine works, including the Coast Guard cutter, the Customs has some vessels there seized there, and those two have accumulated a bill. Now, when you put all the numbers together, it comes up to over $15 million that the government would have for me. The government, they identified the land in the contract as, in their agreement, they acknowledged the land has a value of 6.02 million. But yet they want to charge me 11.72 million to purchase the land. I tell them, I don't think that's reasonable because we both, when the whole thing started, the land was supposed to be 6.5 million, and the amount they owed me was 10 million and change, 10.2 in that range. So if they're charging interest and all that stuff, I should be able to charge interest too. And their amount go up and mine stays fixed. So it started going out of hand. But what I thought, going through the court is the proper thing to do. Not going in the public, not going to any minister. Do things properly the legal way. Now, this whole thing for me got out of hand when I got this letter. And the last paragraph of the letter stated, and I think I should best quote it. It's saying, if your client fails to withdraw the claims from the government will proceed with the eviction of St. Kitts Marine Works and its business operations from the lands and pursue full recovery of the net debt of 8.42 million through legal proceedings. Now, there's so many things wrong with that. Let's start with the going after me for the 8.4 million. I do not have a rental agreement. I don't have a lease agreement. I have a purchase agreement. I am buying the land. If the government comes and evicts me from the land and takes the land back, they cannot charge me for the land that they just took back. So that claim of $8.4 million is bogus. Second, I don't think the head legal office in the country should be pressuring a local or anyone to withdraw a case and threaten eviction if they don't withdraw the case. I think that should be illegal. That I think it might be even extortion. Any legal people out there, please call me and tell me what the proper term is for that. Because I think that the Attorney General's office should be encouraging people to handle disputes through the court, which is a civilized way to do it. Now, I have to wonder, why all of a sudden, what's the big rush to get this matter closed? Why are you charging me $11.7 million for land, which in the same letter you claim is worth $6.02 million? Do you have a buyer? Are you rushing to sell the land to someone else or the project to someone else? I don't know. But what is the big deal? If you evict me, I have so many people's boats on the property. I have to go to the court. Some people I can't reach. The court will have to give orders to sell the boats so I can dispose of them. Because if you evict me, I have to take up everything that's there that I put down, including the piers. We're talking about extracting piles, demolishing the piers, disassembling the travel lifts, which I now have two. I'm very proud to say I was able to get the second one operational a few months ago. So we could handle the traffic in when we have storms and emergencies in the Federation. What I don't think the government realizes, the marine sector with the haulouts has been getting very difficult because a lot of the mariners are building condos. So the land for putting boats on is getting very limited. If you speak to the boat owners here, people who own catamarans and all that, they'll tell you they cannot get into St. Martin to do repairs. Everything is booked out. If a hurricane is coming, that's even worse. You can't get into anywhere. So if I'm not there, what happens to the boats? So let's look at this. If a boat doesn't have a hurricane plan to haul out, and they can't haul out, are they going to get insurance? Because insurance is going to say, hey, if a hurricane's coming, you can't take your boat, so we're not going to cover you. If they don't have insurance, are they going to be able to do tours? Because I know the cruise ships require tours. How is that going to affect the tourism? It's a big cycle. Now, since in 2016, I have approval in principle for building a commercial dock. The commercial dock I was calling the BC Francis Commercial Dock after my father, Ben Cromwell Francis. I was able to, while my mother was alive, let her unveil the Marina Telka. You know, the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. I'm doing my goal to complete that. I'm very happy when my mother unveiled the sign she did not know was going to be named Marina Telka. The look on her face, that was probably the happiest moment. Well, between that and my son's birth, those two were the happiest moments of my life. The BC Francis, I want to build a dock. I have the piles since 2016 sitting there ready to drive. I have the barge, I have the crane, I have all the equipment to do the job. I even have the financing organized to do it. I told the government, I did an interview with Times. I forgot the name. I'll give you a link later on to speak about it. The benefits of the area, diversifying the tourism product. I went as far as right now, you go down there, you'll see we have a new hut. I was able to bring in a few huts. So the idea was to make a little village down there so tourists could stop, buy local food, local craft, very much like what's at Black Rocks. Because Brimstone Hill, a fortress, that's one of our prime things. I don't think people even realize it. But when a tourist comes to St. Kitts on a cruise ship to do a tour, unless they do a full day tour, they don't get to see Brimstone Hill. So why not shift some of the activity from Port Zante down to New Guinea? People come off the ship, you have Port Charles, you have Brimstone Hill, So two could make a turn. Now, if you realize I called it a commercial dock because it's not only for cruise ships, it'd be for cargo boats. We have one port here for taking cargo. No, I'm a commercial diver. I've inspected the port. The port has had defects. In a sense, the port was falling in. I had to go underwater, patch sheet piles, and I don't recall a few years ago, they had to dig up the deck and put in more fill and then cast it over. If that port collapsed, how are we going to get our cargo into St. Kitts? Wouldn't it be good to have an alternate just in case? Some time ago, Ross had a problem in Dominica. They brought a cruise ship here. They actually wanted me to build a pier immediately so the ship could have stayed down there and had the classes right there in St. Kitts. That'd have been a plus. If the pier was built already, that would have been big money into St. Kitts. Now, to be clear, I am not trying to run a port. I've said from day one, I want to do a public sector, private sector partnership. I'll build a port, I'll hand it over to SCASPA to run. I'm not into going out there finding ships and finding business for all that, but I want to facilitate the activity of getting another port, alternate port. Yes, Port Zante's there. I'm not trying to take their business. We are an official port of entry. We've had, well, last year, the numbers from immigration showed we had more activity there, with the exception of the cruise ship here, in terms of people coming in and out of the Federation than any other port in the Federation. If you go down there on Saturday, you think it's a fish market. You have people coming from Statia, Sabre. Now, the Makana, they wanted to come there because it'll take half an hour each direction after their travel time. But the problem is, I did not have the facility, the housing facility. I have the dock facility, but not the housing facility because I needed to put down the sheds and the containers, which I now have. But that is all things going down the road. I was concerned about this thing about eviction. You know, the fact that they put it in writing, that means I have to take them serious. I had to let my customers know that there's a possibility I'm being evicted. Yes, the government, I think they could do that. They could evict me. As far as I know with the law, they could actually come and take your house and say they need it for national interest, but they must properly compensate you. If they have $50 million for me, which will be a lot, it will be more than that they have for me, and they evict me, I'm not going to have to take my business somewhere else. I spoke to other islands, and they're surprised. People want to have their islands developed. They want to have these things done in their islands, so they're excited about getting me down there. But St. Kitts is my home. St. Kitts is where I want to do this. Um, I, I don't know what else to do except to tell them. And I've said from the beginning, I am willing to negotiate. I've always been willing to negotiate. I've been trying to negotiate. But keep in mind, the interest rate and amounts that they charge me tantamounts to 900 plus almost $1 million a year in interest that they want to charge me. You know, the land, how could you raise the price from 6.5 million to 11.7 million in just a few years? Let's negotiate. Wipe out my bill, give me the land. We have a few other things. They wanted access to the property to have customs vessels, to pass products for agriculture through. I gave them all that stuff. I listed all the items. Once again, I need the government to negotiate. Now, with this letter from the Attorney General's office, I have to wonder. In the letter, it says Cabinet did not approve my proposal. Now, if the Cabinet is getting wrong information or misinformation to make a decision on, where the Cabinet is thinking that I owe them $8.4 million at the end of the day, they would be right to turn down the decision. Now, obviously, I don't know what Cabinet's getting. This could be a red herring they sent to me to try to intimidate me because the Attorney General was my lawyer for this same matter. He was my lawyer before. Yes, he knows my weak points. He knows I didn't have a lot of money to fight them in the arbitration in big courts and all that there because I put my money into my business. I have no partners. That business down there is my son and mine. It was my mother's, my son and mine, and my father's. Both of my father and mother passed, so it's my son and mine. It's a big achievement. There were times when I didn't even have duty free because the government wanted to make things tough on me. I managed to pass through all of that. But to see that they want to evict me, Cabinet needs to see what's really going on. We need to have lawyers sit down, point out the facts, because if the Attorney General's office is going to say that when they evict me, they're going to charge me for the land after, that shows incompetency, or they are intentionally giving wrong information. Um, the clause, I think not even a high school student reading the documents could see that that clause of 20% max does not relate to the contractor. It relates to, sorry, that it relates to the contractor in terms of that limitation of what the government could charge me, but not relating to what I could charge them. So we need to look at and wonder, how is this going? What is the motive for this rush to have this deal done? And the fact that they're going to list the price low and want to charge me high, are they trying to sell it someone cheap? I don't know. So I don't know. That's a lot.
Brother Francis, I appreciate you taking my call, and I appreciate you taking the time out to come and speak to the general public, because one of the things that this program strives on is to make sure that citizens are being treated fairly. The government of the day, we elected them to do things the right way and not trying to destroy our country and our citizens. So far, it seems to be the latter. The local citizens who are out there trying has been getting the dirty end of the deal, while foreigners are welcome with open arms who don't even have money. You made reference to a clip that you did with SKN Newsline. You remember when you did that? What year?
Boy, that was a good while back.
Was it before 2022 or after 2020?
Oh, no, it was way before that. It was like around 2020.
Okay.
It's
So
a good while ago.
So I am going to help you with some of the concerns that you may have, because the purpose of this watchdog, the DJ Mauricio, I load up stuff in my archive and I save them for rainy days such as these. So I have some questions for you, but before we get into the questions, there's two clips that I want to play to bring into the conversation, because the general public online, they have a right to know what these governments are doing to our locals. So the clip, the interview that you did with SK Newsline, I'm going to drop that right now.
Okay.
So if you can stand by and let me drop that clip.
Reginald Francis of St. Kitts Marine Works, SKMW, sat down with SKN Newsline to speak of the plans for the new cruise ship dock in New Guinea. Mr. Francis explained that the dock will be called the BC Francis Commercial Dock, and that construction will be done by SKMW. He also explained that they were in the final phase of paperwork and that they have obtained approval in principle from Cabinet. Francis cited diversification of the tourism product as one of the reasons for the port's location.
We're very excited about this because this is going to bring a lot of opportunities, especially for people in that area. We're trying to diversify the tourism product. Instead of having everything concentrated in Port Zante, we're able to put things down on that side of the island. At present, most tours that do half-day tours, they turn back in Old Road, which leaves the people in Halfway Tree, Sandy Point, Newton Round, Date Bay, all those areas. Unless someone's doing a full-day tour, they will be able to get access to all that stuff. Brimstone Hill is going to be a key selling point for us as well.
He went on to state that they are working along with the government to improve on the Fig Tree Beach, making that the nearest beach to the new dock. Francis further explained that the structure will be extended beyond the rocks where the SKMW Marine Telco is presently situated. The dock will be a one-ship dock, and because of the design, would be able to host ships during high winds, something that does not happen at Port Zante currently.
On high wind days at Port Zante, ships get turned away. With the one-ship design, we turn the ship into the wind, so if a ship gets turned away from Port Zante, they could actually come to New Guinea.
He also informed us that there will be 39 shops on site, and that they will be pushing local craft work and cuisine to be on sale. At present, the estimate of the project is about $20 million US. When asked about financing, Francis had this to say.
We're very happy to say we're doing this in-house. We're not seeking any major outside financiers. We're not going to SIDF. We're not going to the government. But what we are doing, we are handing management of the pier over to SCASPA, which is a local government entity representing the government, I should say. We are not trying to compete with the government. It's very important for everyone to realize that. We are just trying to provide the facility.
When the paperwork has been fully completed, construction of the dock can start within a month's time, and once started, should last about 9 months. Reporting for SKN Newsline.
Brother Francis, as you can see, I don't just interview individuals. I do my due diligence, I do my homework. So I know you did not know the clip is coming, but I have to get myself organized in times like these. I'm going to drop one more clip and then we'll continue with the conversation. So stand by, because I don't think you expect this clip either. So let's take a listen. This clip was from campaign 2022 with the representative for your area offering a new marina.
And I told you in half a tree about the pier that we are looking to bring to New Guinea. I told you about the commercial dock we are looking at for New Guinea. And I want to tell you that the developers have told me that they are primed and ready for this pier. And we now have the right tools, the right backing, and I am pleased to tell you that within the next year or less, you will have boats docking at the pier in New Guinea, ready to serve the people of our constituencies.
So to answer your question, you say you don't know why. So I present your interview from SK Newsline, and I give you my summation of why a local is being pushed a certain direction to bring in some foreign investor. So your thoughts?
Okay, so like I said, you caught me off guard with that. But yes, as you see, I think everything I've said matches everything that's there. The minister and I, we have very close communication, and I have always said I'm ready to go. I was assured, when the party got in, that things would have been, how to put it, more receptive for development of that kind of that nature, especially since I'm a local. But I don't know. It's some kind of pause. I have tried to do everything. I personally feel a project of this nature, the government should be coming to me and say, Mr. Francis, what do you need? How much land do you need? Do you need some extra money? Because we need to get this project done. That's what I think they should be doing. But maybe I'm being self-centered. I know my capabilities. I have done the Port Zante Marina. I have refurbished it. I've proven that I could build piers. The cruise pier in Nevis for the cruise tenders, I have constructed that. So I have proven that I'm capable of doing it. The piles are there. You're welcome to come down to the boatyard. I'll show you. Well, when you come to St. Kitts, you'll see the piles are there. They're actually 80-foot piles ready to drive. We welded them already, have them checked. So they're ready to drive and put the pier down. All I need is the concrete. It's I must say, we had some foreigners come recently, and I did share my project information with them. They looked at it, and apparently they liked it a lot. And I know they had meetings with the minister of the area and the attorney general's office. So I don't know, maybe communication is there somewhere that I don't know about. But I know that project is an awesome project, and it was extremely beneficial to the island.
You see, Reggie, Dr. Francis, Brother Francis.
I'm not a doctor. That's right.
Well, you're a doctor in your work, right? I laugh to myself at times just to get over my anger. Because, partner, I understand the conversation when you hear these politicians say government are continuous. I understand it. I get it. But for whatever reason, this government, this Labour administration, this Jew-led administration that I campaigned my ass off to get into office to change the status quo, I don't understand, no matter how I try to give them the benefit at every corner is a disappointment. It's a serious disappointment because as I listen to the various, I must say I got to give you credit as a local businessman on the island to come and speak to me this afternoon. Because believe me, a whole ton of local business people and syndicates come to me with the struggle and the complaints what they're going through with this government, but they're free to speak publicly. So I got to give you credit to come and speak with the DJ public. But over the last couple of weeks, we heard of the Kristoff Harbor dilemma. Whatever arrangement was made back in 2005 with the then Douglas-led Labour administration to give up some hundreds of acres of land over there. Even Master Seawater, I understand, they gave away in the deal some miles out to sea. I did not know that ministers of government is allowed to sell Master water. I did not know that.
Seabed
Right?
lease, they call it. But could I interject for 1 second while you're there?
Well,
Because something I don't think you know. Something I don't think you know.
You could interject, but there's a lot I have to say, so I hope I don't lose my thoughts. So go ahead.
Well, that's why I wanted, before I forget about this. Now, I don't know if you recall, Sinkers Marine Works was a contractor dredging for Kristoff Harbor. And they didn't have money to pay me. And they ran up a bill of over $2 million US. I had to take them to court in North Carolina because that's the contract I had in. And I couldn't afford to do it, and because they would stall, I had to pay lawyer fees and all that kind of stuff. And the government organized a deal where I would take 10%, $200,000, and I'll let the 1.8 million US go. And the government promised to give me the money from SIDF. I never got that money. I lost 1.8 million US on that Kristoff Harbor. Me, the prime contractor, doing the dredging. Then they brought someone in. I paid them more.
Under which government was that?
That was Dr. Douglas.
I just want the people to hear it for themselves because I am going back there. I am saying under the Dr. Denzel Douglas-led Labour administration, it is clear that these folks came in over there at the Southeast with, I understand, no money in the pocket, just a briefcase and a plan. And it was accommodated by our then Labour administration. The land, as you would hear them saying, parliament. And by the way, I call it parliament because that's all I'm hearing in there from this government is lies. So, to me, it's parliament, right? What I don't understand is that whatever arrangement they made, monies came from the SIDF to assist Kristoff Harbor in getting the thing going. I also understand that monies that they receive from the government was not even to put into the project at Kristoff Harbor, but it was alleged that monies was used to pay debt in the US, which I have a problem with. I'm just finding out these things. And if all of these things are factual, I have an issue with it. The National Bank, our National Bank, I understand also they get some monies from there. What the monies was for, I do not know. But I know we have local business people and syndicates that are trying their best and cannot get any support from our local banks or from the SIDF. So when I look at our new Prime Minister, the man that I put my heart out for and fought for, always grinning and giving me a smile that he's going to be the difference, I took his word that he will make the difference. But over the last couple of months with everything that is going on, I realized that I was taken for a ride. And it's not like I am blind and I'm going to sit back and accept our country be given away and our citizens getting knockabout while foreigners benefit. I cannot do that. And this is the reason for you being here this afternoon. The public need to know the facts. Because I cannot see our citizens standing by and allow our colonialists, AG, and Labour-led government do this to another son of the soil. I will not be a part of that. I will stand up with you, whatever is going on. Let's say every story got three sides. Well, let's hear the other two sides. But at any day, I have been walking back and forth or driving back and forth past your business place. I remember when it was a small little thing with 1 and 2 boats in there. We see what they have expanded to, right? So I know you have put in time and money in this marina. And I want to believe you started a marina under the Labour administration, the Denzel Douglas-led Labour administration. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's 2004. I think was Doug. Yes, Douglas was there because I remember he made a statement to me at the opening when we had the opening.
So from my
I would
recollection,
say the statement here right now.
okay, and with my recollection, I remember when that marina opened, and I look at the upgrades and the equipment coming in, which have to be millions of dollars to bring in those kind of equipment. And when you speak about 2016 having a land sale agreement, that would have been under the Team Unity administration.
Well, the final one I have, which they're using now, is 20. It was on the Unity. It was right at the end of the term. I think it was January 2021. That's the sales agreement that we're using now because they adjusted all the rest, and they came down to this one where they put the price at 6.5, which included fines and fees for using the land for all the years before and everything. So that's the one that we're using right now.
Okay.
But
so
if you remember, Stanford had land. I think Stanford got land for 66 cents a square foot because it's something for the benefit of the country. I paid the full commercial price. They were giving commercial land for $4.50 plus I paid the fees for previous years, and they doubled it to $7 now.
The country need to stand up with you, Brother Francis. That's why I have it here this afternoon. Now let's put them side by side and make it make sense. Kristoff Harbor came in, and from what I understand now from everybody who is speaking, including Prime Minister Joe and Dr. Douglas, the government never owned land over in the Southeast. So the Denzel-led Labour administration acquired the land from a private person, a private owner, and then give it to Buddy Darby or whoever the person is for Kristoff Harbor for whatever cost. And whatever arrangement they had, the documents are there to show that area was supposed to bring in, that project was supposed to bring in some 17 billion in 20 years. We know 20 years later that agreement was not lived up to. Now, this is where I am trying to get some straight answers from our Attorney General and our Prime Minister and all of them in cabinet, because all of them should be held accountable. If after 20 years, this organization, Kristoff Harbor, was not able to fulfill their agreement with the government, why am I hearing from Prime Minister Joe that the original agreement is intact, including the lease of the seabed some 12 miles out to sea? Why am I hearing that? Why didn't they use that opportunity to reclaim some of those lands and monies that is owed to the country and to the organization in St. Kitts and Nevis? Why were they allowed to sell assets in the marina after this time? And then we go across to, there's so many unfinished business, but I'm going to just name a few. I'm going to go across to Estridge Estate, the prison project that came in. That project started sometime just before the 2022 elections. And I remember the then Labour Party and myself, we went hard after the former administration. As a matter of fact, after Timothy fired 6 from his Team Unity administration in May of 22, Sean Richards and Premier Brantley now leader of the federal opposition, also went and claimed of the corruption and the underselling of passports, or the CBI for that project. I did not understand how the money worked over there until it was explained to me by people that sell the CBI. I had a crash course from a couple of people that broke it down to me. That the prison project in Estridge, it's supposed to be a cost of 40 million US dollars to build that prison project, that prison campus. But the then Prime Minister Timothy Harris, Team Unity by extension, gave 5,500 shares, 5,500 files to the Galaxy Group, who is responsible for building that prison project. What I did not understand about the difference between the files or the shares and the liquid cash is that the liquid cash at the sale of the shares per passport or per file or per share is 175,000 US dollars multiplied by 5,500. Well, partner, when you add up that, is in excess of 900 million. So why would our government, why would our ministers, anyone in their right senses wants to give away 900 million worth of asset for a 40 million project? That I did not understand, and I'm still waiting to get an answer from Timothy Harris. But they say government are continuous. So I've been waiting to get this answer from Prime Minister Joe. Only to hear Prime Minister Joe in Parliament telling the country that the former administration gave away these 5,500 files, which equal to some 22 to 25,000 citizenships, while the population of St. Kitts Nevis is only 53,000. So basically they gave away half of our country, our population for a prison. And the way he make it sound like is that this thing is borderline treasonous. He went as far as saying that any leader that does something like this should not be able to ever face the country again for re-election, which I agree with him on that. I agree with him on that. The only thing about this situation, big man, is that it is alleged that that's the same individual that signed off on the majority of those files, those passports, those CORs. So I want to know why Prime Minister Joe is still leading the country, why is he still in Parliament, why is the country not in a rage? He said they should be upset. Why is the country not upset that two administrations consecutively under the leadership of Dr. Harris, now Prime Minister Joe, and Douglas is part of it because he's part of the Kristoff Harbor. He's the senior minister in the Labour Party. Why the people in the country is not upset? But they're going to be upset at the DJ to bring the information. They're going to be upset at MSR for blowing the whistle. And they might very well be upset at Reggie for coming here to talk to the DJ. But I am very upset that to every step I turn, since this government been elected for the last 3 years, all they have been doing is putting pressure on our local businesses, our small businesses, while embracing the foreign investors. I mean, the money they have in the bank account, they can't spend it off if they want to live to come 200 years. So why are they doing this to the country? Why are they doing this to our citizens? The conversation I want to have with you this evening, big man, is that it's your business, eh? But this matter need to take to the highest level, to the fullest extent. And this AG that we have there, I love the AG as an individual. Ain't no question about it. I have had very good experience with the AG over the years. But of recent, since he became AG of this Labour administration. I do not know what is going on in that cabinet. They are in there, look like they're on a mission to sell out the country, to make the citizens slave again. Everything that we have fought for, that our forefathers have fought for, they're giving it back. When I'm going to listen to the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition and his team from Nevis, gonna stand up in Parliament, really and willing and support and pass a law, claim that they want to create special economic zones and St. Kitts and Nevis for foreign investors. That's what they passed in Parliament last week for, foreign investors. I understand some minimum of 500 acres on Nevis and 750 or whatever on St. Kitts. That's what they want to give to foreigners. While you a local businessman who are there not just for St. Kitts and Nevis, but for the region. For all of these years, this is hurricane season. What is the age is smoking? What is he sniffing? Because they can't be thinking straight. So, Brother Francis, all I can say to you, partner, let's press on.
Well, I have to say, I had to come out to the public because I'm not withdrawing my case. Because I'm going to stay civilized. I'm taking this to the courts. I don't want to go out there in a big stick chasing after nobody say, give me my land. No, I go to the courts. Let my lawyers deal with it. And because of that, with the written threat that I'll be evicted, I had to let people know that, hey, I might be closing, so please make other arrangements to be able to do repairs to your boat, maintain them and all that stuff. And if they evict me and a hurricane comes, sorry, you're on your own. But I would really like to say I really appreciate so many people I have not expected came out showing support and asking what they could do. I've actually had offers, financial offers, to take care of all these extremely big bills. Some big high-power people in the region came forward and said, look, let's deal with it. Apparently there's something going on that I don't know, or I'm not sure, I think might be going on. But it's interesting how it's going to play out. Of course, Reg is a strategist, and I have alternate plans. When I get evicted, it will be a nice show. Let's say that, a nice show, and the government may lose power actually from it. That one act would be detrimental because of what the ramifications it may have. But once again, I really want to thank people for coming out showing the support. And important message I want to give everyone: kids, learn your lesson. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, in between, go to school. If my parents didn't insist on me getting an education and having an education, I couldn't do this here. This is all because of education. Education is key to get out of any situation you're in. So please keep that in mind. And I'm willing to negotiate. I want to negotiate. I'm begging to negotiate. I'm begging to settle this matter civilized without the courts. We could bring a lawyer in and do a mediation, and then everybody gets a thing, and everyone wins. Going through the courts, you have one side winning and one side losing. So let's let the country win. And politics, they will be politicians, and they will do what they have to do. I can't change the world. I could change my little piece of the world. Let's settle this matter because it's not going to be nice. Let's say that. It's not going to be nice if it's not settled. And it has to be done now. They gave the date to the 15th of September as the deadline for me to respond. That's 2 weeks and a little bit away. I must admit, I really have not been watching your show because I really don't get involved in politics here. And I'm sure you realize I've been very quiet, but this has made me come out, and I'm going to start talking.
Well, you know something, I'm glad that you make that clear, Brother Reg, because I do not know if you can recall, back in 2022, when I was on the rampage in St. Kitts demonstrating for change of government, I ran into you for the first time we ever had a conversation. And you asked me a couple of questions, which I would not get into. But it was clear that as a businessman, you didn't want to get into the politics. It was clear at the time. And I will tell you, what really got me caught in this political arena, apart from the way that the government handled the COVID era, what really got me pissed is when they arrested those 3 individuals for carrying a placard over there and Keon and Church Street. And they did not only arrest these individuals. I understand through my investigation that they were not even holding the card in their hand at the time because people was afraid of the government. The card was on the ground leaning up on the wall. But they took 3 individuals in custody. This guy, Madocap Shack, was one of those individuals. And 2 young ladies. One of those young ladies had a young kid. And I was told that the then Prime Minister made it clear that teach them a lesson, they must not be bailed. So they got locked down for the entire weekend. That turned me on. I find that to be bad. And when I tried to reach out to the Prime Minister, he refused to take my call, and many other ministers refused to take my call. I went down to Manhattan here in New York, where Ian Patches Liebert at the time was the ambassador to the UN for St. Kitts Nevis. And I figure the nature of the UN is about civil liberties and stuff like that. So he should understand what they're doing in St. Kitts to our citizens was wrong. Again, my good friend Ian Patches did not make himself available to speak with me. So I fought the fight, and many people today that have their positions, their PS position, their commissioner of police, the advisors to the Prime Minister, their principal, name it. The people today that was appointed as a result of this new administration was a result of my hard work. But the struggle continued today, where we are getting a repetition and even worse than the previous administration. And these same people who had a problem back then want me to stay quiet now. It was wrong under the previous administration, but it's supposed to be right under this one. And I recall very well, Reggie, I said to you, maybe it did not sink in at the time, but I always give this scenario because I had a step uncle here, Tini Maris, who was a local preacher at the Anglican Church in St. Paul's. So in Sunday school, that he taught us that when they come for John, and there's nobody there standing up for John, when John is gone, they're going to come for Joe. And if nobody stand up for Joe, when Joe is gone, they're going to still keep coming because they have to get bodies. It is their nature to destroy within. So when I was fighting in 22, you didn't want to get into the politics, so they come for you now. But I'm going to stand up with you.
Oh boy.
You
But you
understand?
see,
I am a plain speaker, Brother Francis. I tell it like it is. I am going to stand up with you because I don't want him to come for nobody else.
I think I'm in a position where I had to look at how to put it. The possibility of them victimizing at that time is too high and too easy because of the possibility of the gains. I mean, when you have 70 something people working for you, you have to try to look out for them as well. So I can't haphazardly jump on everything. I have to look at the big picture and what's best for everyone. I think good sense will prevail. I do think good sense will prevail with the government when they see what they do, because maybe they try a thing, as they say. They try a thing with this letter to try to scare me that I get evicted, not realizing that I'm not just a little boy. And but like I said earlier, I hope cabinet is getting the right information. Because if cabinet is getting wrong information, they will make wrong decisions. So that also goes because the attorney general is my neighbor. My front gate is his front gate. Yes, you say he's a nice guy, a real nice guy. He has a boat as well. We communicate, and we'll continue because business and pleasure and neighborhood and countrymen will always be petitions. I don't hold grudges. With Douglas, we had our problems, but I let it go. We, are they getting the right information? That's the only question I really have to find out.
And I will answer your question, Brother Francis. I'm going to say to you, I believe they're getting the right information. I have enough information. I know for a fact that these ministers, including the Prime Minister, They went up in Warner Park on the 13th of August, 2022. They took an oath to a foreign power. They took an oath to uphold the Constitution. They took an oath to defend the country and the people. They took an oath of secrecy, and that's the only thing that they're living up to. Because they went into Parliament and they create all kind of law about integrity in public life, freedom of information, good governance agenda. And I can say to them, I know for a fact that when they got into cabinet and realized that they have people within their circle that is a part of this corruption and have the country in a mess, they took a vote to stand by their colleagues and not the country. That is why we have the problem we have today. And I'm speaking it plain like it is. It's a fact. The entire cabinet is compromised. And the only way forward for this country, if the people are really serious, is to get rid of all of them. Quick. The people need to stand up. But I'm going to give you a chance to do your closing, if you could run. But before you do that, like I'm not just a DJ, you know. I am a real DJ. I got a song for you. I want you to listen to it.
Okay.
I am the ultimate DJ, the best there is. So I want you to hear this track from my good friend.
Treachery cease, when corruption cease, there is nothing to fear. But the tyranny will persist, dictate and oppress, harass and distress. No power, no power, no power in this world can halt the people's quest for freedom, freedom, freedom. I said freedom. The spirit of revolution will never bow down to my man. The quality of virtue increases beneath oppression. oppression. The more we are suppressed and denied our right to pursue all happiness and liberty, is the greater our resistance to tyranny shall be. And no power, not by might, no power, not by force that will can steal the wrath of a people's vengeance. Only when justice overlays the land and men are free from fear and free of want. When the fundamental rights of the people are not abridged, when liberty reigns, when justice reigns, and the language of truth goes down like rain, when treachery cease, when corruption cease, there is nothing to fear. But tyranny will persist, dictate and oppress, harass and distress. No power, no power, no power in this world can halt the people's quest for freedom, freedom, freedom. I say freedom, no power, no power, no power, no, not all. Give me liberty, or give me death. Power without justice withers away by soul intent. The people will never say die, though at times we sigh and cry. And the presence of a calm does not mean there'll never be a storm. For thus past away that the free of men who feel they are gods and we should worship them. But like the whirlwind, there'll come a day the shaft will be carried away. And no power, not by might, no power, not by force that will can steal the wrath of a people's vengeance. Only when justice overlays the land and men are free from fear and free of want. When the fundamental rights of the people are not abridged, when liberty reigns, when justice reigns, and the language of truth goes down like rain, when treachery cease, when corruption cease, there is nothing to fear. But if tyranny will persist, dictate and oppress, harass and distress, no power, no power, no power in this world can halt the people's quest for freedom, freedom, freedom. I say freedom, no power, no power, no power, none at all.
Yeah, Brother Francis. With that track, that brings us to the close of our little chat. So you're closing.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for letting the community know what's going on. I would like to emphasize I am wanting, willing, able, desirous of settling this matter peacefully, quietly, out of court, with big people sitting down and coming to a mutual agreement. By the 15th, if a decision is made, I have to go to arbitration. That's going to take 1 year. you look at when elections is, maybe in 2 years, getting a result of me being awarded $50 million after being evicted from the land, it's not going to look good for election time. But even before that, I think people will be in an uproar. All the boat owners who have millions of dollars invested in their boats, not being able to secure them. So once again, thank you very much. And if any questions out there, definitely I'm very willing to answer. If you could accommodate the negotiation, maybe you could talk to the Prime Minister and let him come and say, hey, look, Reg, we need to give you a few $1 million to build this port in time so we can have it for the next election. That could happen.
Well, part of the honest truth is the Prime Minister that I met, the individual that I met back in 21 and campaigned for in 22, if that individual can resurface, there's a lot that can be accomplished. There's a lot that can be accomplished. Somewhere along the line, that person went missing. And just as you feel that you want to resolve this issue, I wish that many issues that right now stifling the country, that the Prime Minister wake up and understand that it's not going to end well for the country, the citizens, and himself. It's not about the Labour Party, it's about the future of our beloved federation. So I'm always open to doing my part when it comes to country, citizens. So it's up to them. I will be here beating the pavement weekly, bringing the information to the folks around the globe. And you're speaking about this case. Right now, because I am getting the information I have, election should be anytime soon, and this government don't stand a second chance. The ball is not in their court anymore. Time is not on their side. No matter what kind of fake AI and fake pages they come up with trying to distort, time is not on their side. All they bring here is the facts. So, Brother Reg, thanks for your time. Thanks for the explanation. I know that there'll be other information. The podcast is open to you. Just feel free to reach out and let me know when you want to drop in. But I have a song here that I have to drop. It's the unofficial anthem of our beloved Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. You don't have to stick around for it. It will be my final track by the late, great King Arrow. This one is called Arise. And again, I'm going to dedicate this one to you as well, brother, because you need to stand up to the government. And believe me, I am right there on your side. Whether you want me on the left or the right, I am standing up to you. I'm standing up with you.
Thank you very, very much. Happy to be here. I will listen in.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Would you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Building a brand new nation, we'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that brings us to the end of our special broadcast here with the man Reginald Francis there. Marine works there in New Guinea, St. Kitts, and look forward to seeing you folks here on Wednesday evening, same place, same time as we bring you the updates of the happening in our beloved